Hey, what's up, everybody? Clinton Young here, and I wanted to share something that inspired me today in hopes that it will inspire you. And that is really looking at like what makes you feel stuck and how do we get unstuck, right? How do we get unstuck? And I was reminded this morning because I woke up and I had this massive migraine. I don't know if you ever get migraines, but oh my goodness, when you do, it's not a good day. And you get nausea, and it's just not fun. So I'm sitting there in bed, and I am thinking about just like, what am I going to do today, and how am I going to function today? And it just popped in my head. I remembered that when I take a shower, sometimes it cures the headache. I don't know why. It just, if you don't feel good, sometimes you jump in the shower and you feel better, right? And I do this hot cold thing, which is a little bit crazy, but it's freezing, but it's pretty amazing at the same time. I've talked about that on previous lives and videos. But I wanted to share today, there's these three things that we can do if we feel stuck. The three things. And I learned these from Tony Robbins and from some other people as well. They have kind of different ideas around this, but ultimately, and of course, just through my own experience of life. But I have this card on my desk. You can't really see it, but it's called the Triad, and it's actually from the Tony Robbins event, Unleash the Power Within, which is amazing, by the way. If you have not been, it is like a personal development rock concert. It is so much fun. So there's three things I want to share today that have been impactful in my life, that hopefully they'll be impactful in your life to help you get unstuck. If you're ever feeling like you're stuck, maybe you've experienced a challenge in your life, or a loss, or a failure, you might call it a failure, and you are kind of moving through life and things are okay, and then all of a sudden you have fear or you have doubt and you feel stuck, right? There's a lot of scenarios that could have you feeling stuck. I know that for me, I feel stuck from time to time, even in my career, right? And in my business, and in my purpose in life. And sometimes even though I teach these things around limiting beliefs, sometimes I have beliefs that come into play that limit me. And sometimes I experience confusion. I don't know if you ever experience like brain fog or confusion, or you feel like you want something and then you start doing it and then you realize, wait a minute, hold on, is that the right thing? Is it this thing? You start second guessing yourself. So that's just the reality of what I experience as a person, as a human, as a coach, as a speaker, and one day a full-fledged author. That's one of the things that's been stopping me, is getting my book done. I've got like 30,000 words written, and I don't have the book done. But anyways, back to that another time. I want to teach you these three things, or share these three things. And again, these aren't necessarily mine. These are things that I've learned over the years, and I kind of put my own twist on them. But ultimately, I want to share the three specific ways that Tony Robbins actually talks about, ways to shift, he calls, your state, right? In any given moment, we feel a certain way, and we start to say things to ourselves about that experience, and we put a definition or a meaning around the experience that we have in any given moment, and that really becomes our experience of life. That's my experience, anyways. That's my belief, from my experience of life, and what I've learned is really like there's what happens, and then there's what meaning we assign to whatever happens in our lives, and ultimately that becomes our reality. That becomes our truth. That's why really understanding and becoming aware more fully of our beliefs and our limiting beliefs, the things that stop us, is so powerful, because it gives us more facility to really create and define that meaning or that definition when those things happen to us. So So yeah, so I want to share these three things that can help us get unstuck. Thanks for the likes and the shares. Love it. Somebody's on right now and checking it out and giving me a like. So I appreciate that. So I'm going to share these three things really quick. So I'm going to read a few of them as well, because again, it's on this little card that I have to help us get unstuck. And the first one is, I'm going to talk about physiology, because that's what happened to me this morning. Right? I'm sitting there in bed. I've got this migraine headache and I'm like, what am I going to do? How am I going to change this? And I immediately remembered that when you shift your physiology, it changes everything in your experience of that present moment, right? So an example of this, I was coaching one of my coaching students the other day for speaking, and we were talking about how they felt stuck and they felt depressed. And I said, well, one of the things, and I talked to her about physiology. When you change your physiology, it changes everything. So I encouraged her to go out and take a run, right? Or do something active that kind of moves the molecules in your body, moves the blood, gets your heart pumping, takes your mind off of things. And ultimately, it shifts your state. Again, Tony Robbins calls it your state of being. How do you feel in any given moment? Because how you feel in any given moment, in my experience, in my belief, that's your experience of life. Like that's your reality for you, is how you feel. So when you change your physiology through exercise, is just one example, that shifts your state and it shifts how you feel, and it shifts the meaning and the definition you give to any experience that you encounter that day, and ultimately can uplift your life. It can make you feel alive. So physiology is the first thing. And again, that's what I did this morning when I had that migraine, and I said, I'm going to jump in the shower right now. I'm going to take a cold shower, hot shower, cold shower, hot shower. And it immediately changes my state. Guess what? I don't have a headache right now. Will it come back later on today? I don't know. Maybe. I haven't been feeling great lately, but ultimately it worked to shift my state, and it shifted my physiology. And it shifted how I felt in that given moment. Oh, it's Brendan. Awesome. How you doing, Brendan? Awesome. Good to see you from Ireland. Yes, I believe we met when I spoke over in Ireland in 2018, or I think it was 2018 or 2017. Great to see you on here, Brendan. Love to hear how you're doing and how you shift your state and how you get unstuck. I'm curious what that might be for you. So the number two thing that we can do to shift our state is to shift our focus, right? What are we focused on? And that's why I love the first one. The first one is so easy, physiology, because you can do that so easily. Sometimes when we say, I want to shift my focus, it can be hard because we have something stuck in our heads, or it's just harder to do. But when we just go out and take a run, or we go out and we lift weights, or we jump in the shower like I did, right? It's so much easier to do something because it just takes a little willpower. You just say, I'm going to go do it, and you do it. And what does that do? That not only shifts our physiology, but it also interplays with the number two way to shift your state and to feel better. And that is, it shifts your focus, right? When I'm in the shower, I'm not thinking about my headache. I'm thinking about how A, how nice the warm water felt, and B, how freezing cold the cold water felt. Similar example, if my speaking student that I was speaking to in Australia, I told her to go out and take a run. What is she thinking about when she's on that run? She's thinking about her muscles, her body, maybe any aches or pains that she might have in her body. And she is, she's taking that run, and it immediately shifts what she's focused on, right? So not only shifts the physiology, but it also interplays with the second variable here, which is your focus. So whatever you focus on, I love Tony Robbins says about this one. He says, and I've heard this a million times from other people as well. I've even said this: where focus goes, energy flows. Right? Where focus goes, energy flows. So when we shift our focus, and that's a great way to shift our focus, it immediately shifts our physiology. Another thing, and the third one interplays with all this beautifully as well, but another way to shift our physiology and our focus, and this is one of my favorite things to do, is to listen to inspiring music, right? Go and see an inspiring musician. Because we as I call ourselves spiritual beings living a human experience, right? We are spirit and we just happen to be in this body. I find that one of the best ways to really shift our physiology and shift our focus and get unstuck is to be moved emotionally. And I find that watching somebody when they're in their flow, a musician, for example, right? That example I just gave, when we watch somebody that's totally in their element, like you've seen it, right? You've seen a musician when they're just, I was going to go see a concert today, but I found out it was freaking yesterday, Ryan Hiller in San Diego. He's amazing. When I see him play or somebody like him, just pick your favorite musician and they're just so in the zone, right? They're in their flow. Like that is so like what we as spiritual beings living this human experience want in our lives. That is our natural state of flow, of happiness, of fulfillment. So it's really attractive to see somebody in that state. We are drawn to that. And it gives us that shared feeling of flow for just that brief moment. It gives us that shared feeling of bliss, right? If you ever feel the tingles, if you see your musician play or you hear that song that's really moving and it moves you, right? You can get the same feeling when you are watching a movie and you're moved to tears, like Secretariat. If you haven't seen that movie, it's about a horse. Amazing movie, a true story. Just amazing, amazing movie. Like I'm moved to tears every time I watch the dang thing. So when you find things like that make you feel alive, that give you those tingles, I always say follow the tingles, baby. Follow the tingles, because that elevates how you feel. It shifts your state and it shifts your focus. Right? So we're talking about, again, how do you get unstuck? First thing we talked about is physiology. I'm giving you a lot of examples of how to do that. Exercise, right? Jumping in a cold shower or hot shower or back and forth, listening to inspiring music, watching a moving movie, an inspiring movie. These are some ways that we can do that. And it not only shifts our physiology, but it also shifts our focus. Right? It shifts our focus. It's a real easy way to shift our focus. We can also meditate, of course. I love meditation. Sometimes that's harder if you're in a deeper negative or challenging state or depressed state. But physiology, baby, that's easy, right? So I find that you start with the physiology. Find things that can move your physiology quick, because that will automatically shift your focus. Let me see if he says anything about physiology here. Let's see here. Oh, and this just goes to as well, when you're speaking, like right now, I'm speaking into the camera and it says, when you're standing up straight and your shoulders back, how do you feel? Or how do you feel? Do you feel more empowered? Or do you feel less empowered? Are you walking around like this with your back hunched, right? So changing your state, changing your physiology, literally as simple as that. It's another example of how you can change your physiology and it will immediately have you feel better. Let's see if there's anything else here on this one. Okay, so we've kind of covered a bunch on that. So we talked about physiology, we talked about focus. Now, I want to share with you the third one. In the third one, again, they all interplay. The third one is our language, right? We've got to shift our language. Remember, I started this whole live off talking about when you have this negative state or this depression or you feel stuck, we generally, when we experience anything that day, during that day, we assign a meaning to it, a definition, a meaning of what that experience means. And ultimately that can keep us stuck. And sometimes it can keep us spiraling even lower, right? Because we assign this meaning. And language, the third way to change our state, is so tied to meaning, because when we assign a meaning, a lot of times we'll say things to ourselves as negative self-talk, or we'll say things to other people like, this is stupid, or I'm so stupid, right? We stay in that negative state. But when we can consciously shift our language to say something new, to assign a new meaning, right? It's kind of like the tag, if you will, that you assign, or the sign, if you will, that you assign to that meaning is your language, right? This is a beautiful day. It's beautiful. I feel great. I know sometimes it can feel not authentic or not pure. That's why I say start with the physiology first. That's the easiest way to shift your state. Go and take a run. Go and take a cold shower. Go and do something. Listen to inspiring music. Do something that's going to shift your physiology, because that automatically shifts how you feel. And that automatically will shift what you then focus on, what you think about, and then your language, what you say. And then that will get you in a perpetual upward spiraling motion. And you continue to elevate and elevate and elevate. And you assign new and more empowering meanings to your experience. And it continues to elevate you and spiral you up into an empowered state. So let me just see if there's any last thing here that they say about language. Let's see here. How can you shift your language in any situation to create a more positive state? So we just kind of talked about that. So again, these are just 3 ways that we can uplift ourselves, uplift those around us, and really to get unstuck, to shift our physiology, right? Through taking a run or working out or playing pickleball, something I love to do. Shift our physiology through listening to empowering music or inspiring music, or watching a movie that really lights us up. Or we can do things like I did, which is just jump in the cold shower, right? Or a hot shower. Change your state, change your physiology, because that automatically goes to the second one and changes what you focus on, which allows you to assign a new meaning, a new definition to whatever you're experiencing in your life. And it allows you to then sort of sustain that through the language that you then start to say, which is more empowering and new and empowering language. And that gets you in that upward spiral. So hopefully that helps you feel more alive today, helps you get unstuck. I am on an absolute path and mission to inspire myself to continue to reignite my human spirit and to help to reignite your human spirit. So that's my share for today. If you'd like to check out my speaker posse, if you are a speaker or an entrepreneur who wants to speak, I want to put something up on the screen here. Definitely check out the Speaker Posse. That is a group for aspiring world-class speakers and entrepreneurs that have a message that want to uplift themselves. And then also, if you want to see what I'm doing, my wife and I, a more intimate look at what's going on in our lives this year and how we're living our dream life now, I really encourage you to check out my Instagram page and my other Facebook page at Clinton Speaks. I'm sorry, that's my speaker page at Club Freedom Live, because my wife and I are doing something that really makes us feel alive. And we're going to do that this year. We're literally going to rent out the house, and we are going to get an RV. We're probably going to buy one, and we're just going to go. We're going to travel all across the US. We're planning on doing this for like 6 months to a year. And that scares the crap out of me. It requires a lot of faith. It requires me to continually shift my state, my physiology, my focus, and my language, like we just talked about. And if that inspires you, if you've ever desired more freedom or more adventure in your life, then definitely follow along on our journey, because the good, the bad, and the ugly will be shared. And it'll be fun and it'll be inspiring, hopefully, for you to do whatever lights you up, whatever makes you feel alive in your life. So until then, my name is Clinton Young, international keynote speaker, founder of the Speaker Posse, and coach for aspiring world-class speakers, and a self-proclaimed global lifestyle entrepreneur, saying to always think big, say yes, and take action. All right, bye for now.